Good day, brothers and sisters. It's your brother Rams here, and as always, I'm glad to be back on the airwaves. I want to first and foremost, as I always do, thank all my supporters out there who view me and listen to some of the things I say to help America be a better place. And I appreciate all your support. And again, that comes from the Almighty God Himself who allowed you to hear me. And I thank Him first. And I thank you also for your support. I'm deeply humbled and I'm truly inspired by your support and your comments. But right now we're going to get in right into the political sauce right here, and this is a particular one that uh, I wanted to speak on because as we enter into the 4th of July, Independence Day for America, the title of this podcast is going to be, I believe, U.S. United States 250th birthday. United States 250th birthday. America is at a crossroads, a critical crossroads, excuse me. America is at a critical crossroads. Why you say that, Brother Ram? Because we are. What will the next 250 look like if we get to see another 250? Because the true and living God does not have to allow you to see another 250. And as I've told you before, and I've said over and over again, I said, look at all the other ancient great societies. And that starts with ancient Egypt, ancient Greece, ancient Rome. They're not the powerful nations that they used to be. Okay? And as I've stated many a times before, the reason why they're not as powerful as they used to be, because what destroyed them wasn't an exterior enemy. In fact, it was an internal enemy. It was an internal rot, a breakdown of moral fiber. That's what caused them to crumble. And of course, what that then did is it caused a lot of dissatisfaction among the people, and the people rose up. It's just that simple. So I say these things to let you know that there were other great societies before America. And America's only been a society, a country for only 250 years. That's just a bat of an eye in terms of time. So, America, uh, we have a dark history. We want to be known as a nice, uh, human, uh, 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 humanistic society where everybody's accepted and everybody's welcome. But that's not the case, America. The true case of America, that's not it. America has some things to be proud of. Sure, they do. Sure, they do. But America has some very dark secrets. Very dark secrets. So, although we celebrate 4th of July, we still have to understand one thing, that America has uh, some very checkered past, has a very checkered past. They've had plenty of accomplishments. There's no doubt about that, hands down, hands down, hands down. They've become a superpower quickly in terms of time. They've become a superpower. But right off the bat, like I say, um, America's been uh, very powerful for a long time, and in such a short period of time. But again, let's look at the political sauce. This week, President Trump and the Supreme Court, they ruled on a couple of key rulings because their session now is over. It ends at the end of June. And they came up with a couple of key rulings, and I want you to understand what's happening here in America. Okay, the first one is the 14th Amendment. They said that's birthright citizenship. Okay, that's birthright citizenship. And originally, that was supposed to negate the Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3 part of the Constitution. That's the part that declared you and I 3/5 of a human. Okay, that's very important that we understand that. Article 1, Section 2, uh, Clause 3, okay, of the U.S. Constitution says the Negro is 3/5 of a human. So the 14th Amendment was designed that originally it was designed to that all slaves, their children would be American. Okay, that children would be natural citizens. But as you see, we've had a problem with becoming citizens. Our citizenship is an issue here in America, still continues to be. And that's why Trump tried to get rid of it by addressing the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court, they 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 uh, 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 ruled in favor of the people, and they expanded it. It was expanded because originally it was for the black people, but then this famous senator way back in 1866, it's a senator, and he came up with expanding it from just not the Negro, but it also expanded to anyone born here on the soil of America, that you are now a natural citizen. But again, for the black man, it's a totally different thing because why? Because there was that struggle with that 3/5. Do we want to give someone who's not even a whole human full citizenship? And that's been America's struggle when it comes to the black man. Let's look at some historical facts as well. When the Declaration of Independence and all those documents were signed in 1776, black man, the fact of the matter was you were a slave. I know some of you don't want to admit that, but it's the truth. You were a slave. They weren't talking about you when it came to independence. All you knew was a day off of work. You didn't have to work that day. Massa was celebrating. So that meant, hey, no work today. Of course, you like that. Who likes working in 99-degree Alabama heat, 99-degree Georgia heat? That has a lot to do with it, brothers and sisters. Has a lot to do with it. So I just want you to realize these things. That the 14th Amendment was supposed to grant the Negro initially citizenship. Had a problem. This senator, I think his last name was McCullough. Don't quote me yet, but his last name was McCullough in 1866. He said, let's expand that to include anyone born here in America, which in other words means he refined it. And the Supreme Court ruled in that favor. Said, no, you're born here. You are now a citizenship. But this is the crazy part that gets me. I leaves me scratching my head. Donald Trump's wife, J.D. Vance's wife, are immigrants. Yes, they are. They're immigrants. They came from another country. They are immigrants. They had children by this quote, quote, immigrants. In fact, J.D. Vance, his wife, she's kind of dark. And Nick Fuentes, a white nationalist, chastised J.D. Vance for marrying a dark woman. But what I'm trying to say is that your children would then have to be deported. Barron Trump would have to be deported. Well, I married her, and that's why that excuses. No, it won't. Not under this law, it won't. That means every child born to an immigrant is no longer a citizen. Is no longer a citizen. So then, what would that mean? That now they can be deported back to their country. What other country? They were born here. They don't have another country. Damn it. So JD and Trump, that was a stupid thing to say the 14th Amendment. That saved you. Now, where would your children go? Barron and J.D. Vance, where would your children go? That would mean your wife would have to go. Because marriage won't save you then. If they ruled in that favor like you wanted, marriage will not save you. Because, of course, the next thing everyone would do is do what? Go get married. So that doesn't make sense. If that kept them in the country and protected them, that's what they would do. And some still do that. Some people even pay to get married. Some even pay to get married, brothers and sisters. So that's important for us all to understand. But let's look at that 14th Amendment. That's what would have happened. So Trump lost on that. But guess what? He's now decided to attack and deport two types of people, two race and ethnic groups in this country. They said the Haitians got to go if they're not under TPS, temporary protective status. That's what TPS stands for, temporary protective status. That now they can be deported. And the Syrians. Now, the first thing, all that is illegal by the Supreme Court. That's why I'll talk about them in a second. That's illegal. How do you pick a race and a ethnic group and say these people have to be deported? You didn't pick any of the white ethnic groups. You didn't say certain Irish or Italian or Greek or none of them. You didn't say nothing about them. You said absolutely nothing about them, brothers and sisters. And that's the sad part about it all. How do you just arbitrarily pick two races of people, the Haitians? And that's sad. And this is a warning to you, black people. It's a warning. Let me give you an example why this is a warning to all black people, not just the Haitian people. Oh, I'm not Haitian. I ain't got to worry. Yes, the hell you do if you're black. They were black before they were Haitian. Haitian only means where you were born. That's a landmass. That doesn't tell you who you are. So, black men, you better wake up. Let's take a look at it. Four black men standing on the corner. None of them says a word. How does ICE tell the difference between a Haitian and someone from Mobile, Alabama? How do they find the difference? What's going to be the difference? They speak English just as plain as you do. And they ain't walking around with Haitian written across their forehead. So how do you distinguish the difference? You don't. So now all black people are subject to be arrested and put in these detention centers under deplorable conditions, brothers and sisters. People dying, disappearing. Worse than regular American prisons. They had to shut down that one, they call it Alligator Alcatraz in Florida. Black men, you're going to be in trouble, man. We're in trouble. Because once they said the Haitians, that meant all black people. That's what they're building these detention centers for, brothers and sisters. That's why they're building them. So I sound the alarm on America's 250th birthday. Yes, America's accomplished a lot of nice things, but they have a dark, seedy side to them. Have you forgotten about the Native Americans? You came here as an immigrant, my Caucasian brothers and sisters. You came here as an immigrant, every last one of you. You wiped out a whole bunch of people, whole millions of people. You wiped them out. Gave them blankets with smallpox. And wiped them out. Broke treaty after treaty after treaty. You did these things, brothers and sisters. You did these things. And we're at a critical crossroad in America. Because which way are we going to go? As I told you in this podcast, we can't go backwards. Even though Donald Trump and his minions want to go backwards, you can't. It defies logic. It defies human law, the laws of nature, the laws of God. It defies all of that. That's why there's a problem. You defy God, that's it. So the 14th Amendment gave birthright citizenship, but it's been a struggle for the black man. So they ruled on that and said, no, there is such a thing as birthright citizenship. But the other side of the birthright citizenship is this. The other side is who gets to call the shots? Supreme Court. This is what they also did. See, and I'm going to talk about the Supreme Court in a minute. They now allowed billionaires and millionaires to influence Congress by spending millions and billions of dollars behind different candidates. Do you understand what that means? They're lobbyists. They can spend unlimited money. Can you think about that? You trying to run a little basic campaign, and here comes a sapsucker that got millionaire donors behind them. They can buy the election, in essence. But what happened? And this is what I want to say. First and foremost, it was a 63 vote, and our sister, beautiful sister, Ketanji Brown Jackson. Remember her. I say that because she stands on the shoulders of black women warriors. I know you say, Brother Rams, here you go with them black women's again and promote. You damn right I'm going to promote them. Because they've stood up for our weak behinds. When we wouldn't stand up for ourselves, that black woman was standing up there for you. I'll give you an example right now. Brother, you seem fired up. You damn right I am. Because it took our sister to stand up and talk to these damn fools up there on the Supreme Court. She told them. And she quoted from two heavy people. That's our sister Ketanji Brown Jackson. She quoted from a book of this serious black woman. Her name is Isabel Wilkerson. Her last name is Wilkerson. Heavy sister. The name of the book escapes me. And then she also quoted from our brother, brilliant brother, Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass was saying, yeah, you celebrating the 4th of July. That's great for you, but is it great for me? He hit him hard. You know Frederick Douglass. Don't act like you don't know. She quoted from Frederick Douglass and his sister Isabella Wilkerson. That's what she did. Ketanji Brown Jackson. And guess who was her opposition? And this is the sad part. It brings tears to my eyes, but I understand why. Clarence Thomas. He was writing for the those who dissented. He was in charge of writing a rebuttal. Black man against the 14th Amendment. How the hell does that look? And guess who got to fight him? A black woman. Ain't that the daggonest thing you ever seen? But she laid into that knucklehead, laid right into his behind. She was quoting and running back different stuff, quotes from Frederick Douglass, quotes from Isabella Wilkerson's book. That's a heavy sister, man. She's a lawyer. That's what I love about some of them black women, them lawyers. They get you, they jam you up. You mess with them. But that's standing on the shoulders of other black women, their ancestors. And that's why a lot of our Caucasian brothers try to say, oh, she's an angry black woman. No, she's not. She's a powerful black woman. And you better believe it. You better believe it, brothers and sisters. And she stood up and said, nah, what you writing is a bunch of foolishness. He wrote, it was like 90-some pages of foolishness. A black man. Denying his own birthright citizenship. What's wrong? I'll tell you what's wrong with the Clarence Thomases And you know the ones in Florida, the ones in South Carolina. I ain't got to mention their name, but you know who they are. It's lack of proper education. They lack a proper education. Brother Rams, what's the proper education? Let me reiterate what I've said about a proper education. A proper education teaches the student about self. If it doesn't teach the student about self, it leaves a big void in the student's mind. Because he don't understand how he fits in all of this. He doesn't. So he's confused. So it's easy to attach himself with others' culture instead of his own. And that's where you see the Clarence Thomases and them folks in Florida and in South Carolina. They lack knowledge of self. And that's why I said in some of my other podcasts, I've stated that it's imperative that black folks teach their own children. There's nothing wrong with it. Don't let no one fool you. My Caucasian brothers and sisters do it all the time. And they don't have a problem with it. So you are okay to teach your own. And as I've mentioned in some of my podcasts, I mentioned some of the great black educators here that have come before us during our time. And I'll start with one of the greatest black men in America, and that is the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Marcus Garvey, my sister, a sister from Chicago. Her name escapes me right now, but I'll remember it in a second. My mentor, Jeffrey Canada, Marva Collins, excuse me, brothers and sisters, they came to me. Marva Collins, black educators. So don't say we can't teach our own. We've done it all through history. Don't let no one tell you you shouldn't. And I always give the example of my Asian brothers. They're a superpower in the world now. Why? Because they've never let the Caucasian people educate their children. Well, you say they go to public schools too. Yeah, but they also go to school on Saturday. They go to school on Saturday. They learn their culture, their ways. So I want you to understand that Ketanji Brown Jackson, sister, I tip my hat to you. You're a beautiful sister. Thank you for standing up for us like you were supposed to. Unlike your our brother, yeah, he's still our brother, Clarence Thomas. But let me get to the other side of the Supreme Court. Supreme Court must have term limits. I saw a program the other day with Cory Booker. He's on the Senate Judiciary Committee. And he even said they're corrupt. Corruption. Because they have no ethics. There's no ethics guiding them and doing what they're supposed to do. In the case of Clarence Thomas, he's the poster child for ethic violations. Traveling with mega donors from the Republican Party. Yeah, he was. They paying for their tuition and their kids to not for their kids' tuition and all kind of what do you call it? They call it when people get little gifts from others. Little it escapes me right now. It'll come to me. But they're getting these little gifts from all these different people. That's an ethics violation. You can't. Some are steadfast, but they don't have ethics guarding them on the Supreme Court. And thus we must have term limits. Some people say, well, we need to add more justices. No, we don't. 9 is enough. They're just under term limits. What's the term limits? I'll reiterate them to you, brothers and sisters, because listen to the Ramsey plan for the Supreme Court and the rest of Congress as well. Supreme Court, here's the deal. You turn 65 or you've been on the court for 30 years. Whichever comes first, that causes you to retire. You must retire. No ifs, ands, or buts. 65 or 30 years. Whatever one comes first, you're forced to retire. The next thing, alternating parties for the pick of Supreme Court justices. For example, like I've said, if you turn around and say the president is Republican and a Supreme Court opening comes up, but it's the Democrats' chance to choose now. It's their time to choose. So the Democrats now get a chance to pick the Supreme Court judge and have them confirmed, so forth and so on. And it would alternate Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Republican. It has to alternate so we don't stack the court. That's what Donald Trump did along with the help of Mitch McConnell. And then at the end, he threw Mitch away like an old pair of shoes. Old Stoneface. You know Mitch Stoneface Phillip, Stoneface Mitchell? And all of a sudden he just freeze up. That's age, baby. You've been in there too long. You've been there too long. That's why it's term limits. It should be term limits for senators. No more than 2 terms. That's 12 years. That's enough. For a congressman, they do 2 years. No more than 5, 10 years. Then you're gone. 10 years, 12 years, that's enough time for you. Get on. And then here's another factor that's got to be that the Supreme Court just basically squashed was the lobbyists, their contributions and what they can do to the different corporations. So you can't do that. So the Supreme Court ruled that businessmen, all them billionaires, can pour as much money into candidates as possible. And that goes against what I'm thinking is you've got to watch those lobbyists. So that's important to understand, my brothers. But you know me, always I got to do a little black history too. I got to do it. But again, the 14th Amendment, black man, you were not free. You were a slave then. And all you saw was a day off. And America has a dark side. Yes, they celebrate their birthday. But at what expense? And we're at a critical crossroad. What's the critical crossroad? We either go forward or we go backwards. If we go backwards, it's nothing but destruction. And this president is designed to destroy America. He's destroying America physically as well. Look at it. White House, all these monuments he's building to himself in D.C. like he owns D.C. Spending taxpayer dollars. Got us into a war without congressional approval. Now he don't know how to get out of it. Fired some very qualified military generals and admirals. Fired them because they wouldn't tell him what he wanted to hear, considering he's never been in the military. Him nor his children. So again, I say, the 14th Amendment has been a problem for our people because they don't want to enforce it when it comes to us. Because that 3/5 clause interferes with the 14th. They clash. They clash. The 14th Amendment in Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3. They clash with that. The two clash. Because you can't be a citizen, but you're not considered a whole human. And therein lies the problem. But I'm going forward to one of our queens. And because I'm going to bring it on home with this little piece here. It's a sister. It's a queen sister. And her name is Queen Hatshepsut. Hatshepsut. Queen Hatshepsut. And she was the female king of Egypt. And she reigned as a co-regent circa 1479 to 73 BCE. From 1479 to 73 BCE. Okay, that's about 6 years. Okay, and then she became her own First, she was a co-regent with her stepson, but then she was her own. Therefore making her the queen king of Egypt. And in her own right, she ruled circa 1473 to 1473 to 1458 BCE. But here's the heavy part about our sister. She attained an unprecedented power for a woman. Remember, women were strong and whatnot, but they still didn't have the power of the man. Okay? She had unprecedented power for a woman, adopting the full titles and regalia of the Pharaoh. She wore the clothes of the Pharaoh. And guess what she also did? She even put on a fake beard. You know how they got that beard, little piece coming down like that there? She had one too. That's my sister. That's black. That's black, y'all. That sister said, hell, I can wear one too. They got a beard. I'm gonna put a beard on me too. Go ahead. King Hatshepsut. I love her. Love it. That's the power of black women, y'all. That's the power of black women. And you can't beat that, baby. If we just had more brothers standing up, we'd be okay. But I'm gonna give you some contributions that our sister made. Some contributions that our sister made. And one thing was, you know, her expedition to Punt. What was Punt? It was a highly famous and successful trading mission. She went to Punt to trade, all right, to the land of Punt. Well, where's the land? I don't see it on the map, Brother Rams. It's known as Somalia today, brothers. See the name change. See, the cartographers changed the names of a lot of our countries. Like Nubia. You don't see Nubia. Nubia is the Sudan. Punt is Somalia. They're on the map, right? She was a prolific architecturist. She had all kind of massive, ambitious buildings built in Egyptian history. Man, she had some stuff built. She was a builder and trader. See, she was more concerned about building and trading than she was about war. That was the heavy part about our Queen Hatshepsut. Heavy, man. One of the other things she did was she built these things she built these things monumental obelisk. Brother Rand, what's an obelisk? It's quarried and erected towering granite obelisks. Now, this is very important. As a matter of fact, one of them in Egypt still stands today. It's over 95 feet tall. Now, I'm going to drop some real knowledge on you, brothers and sisters, right now. What does an obelisk look like, Brother Rams? I need you to picture this, and then I'll give you an example of it that you see every day, especially now. They keep showing it and showing it, but that's an obelisk. And it was done by our great queen, Queen Hatshepsut. Watch this. The base of an obelisk is rectangular, almost square, but rectangular. It goes up and it narrows. Listen to what I'm saying. It's made of granite because she quarried it and made it out of granite. Interesting point. The base, and then it starts to go up, but it narrows till it gets to the top. And then at the top, they put a pyramid on top. What? And they put yes, to symbolize Egypt. Now I'm going to bring it home to you, brothers and sisters. Your brother's pulling your coat, giving you some knowledge of your history, and you see it every day and don't even know it's one of your accomplishments in history. How many people have seen the Washington Monument? That's an obelisk. And that was the type of architecture that Queen Hatshepsut built in Egypt. As a matter of fact, there's a whole bunch of them there. Okay? She built a whole bunch of these obelisks at the Karnak Temple Complex. At the Karnak Temple Complex. Look it up if you want. All these obelisks. But guess what they look like? The Washington Monument. Go take a good look at the Washington Monument when you get off this. And you go take a look. Very important to understand. Black man and woman, you here in America, you didn't know that. You didn't know that's from Egyptian architecture. It's an obelisk. And on those obelisks, a lot of times they wrote significant parts of history on the obelisk. So you could go there years and years later and read your history. See, black man, heavy, man. Heavy. So I just want to say that, brothers and sisters. But where America's at a crossroad, critical crossroad, as they approach their 250th birthday. And if she doesn't change, if she doesn't understand that time moves forward and nothing stays the same, then we'll go the way of the other wicked empires. And remember, Sodom and Gomorrah don't even exist no more, burnt to the ground. There's not even a blade of grass that grows there. There's not even a blade of grass. So understand God has that power. And we all must understand that. We're at a crossroad. Look at what's happening now. Again, deporting Haitians and Syrians, detaining my Hispanic brothers. Stealing corrupt from the president, just in there enriching himself. Getting rich like a fat cat. Stealing from the presidency. There's a gentleman, he's an investigative reporter. So you want to question me or look me up? I don't care. Go ahead. I speak facts. His name is Eric Lipton. He's a New York Times investigative reporter. Eric Lipton, New York Times investigative reporter. And what has he done, Brother Rams? Man, he's following that Trump money. And he is going to blow your mind. You read him. He said the president done already put $2.2 billion in his pocket. Remember, Trump running for president was because he wanted to make America great again. That's what we call tricknology, brother. What's tricknology? The art of mixing truth with the lies. And that's what he did. He mixed truth with lies. And it fooled the most American people, especially mostly my Caucasian brothers and sisters. Fooled them because they was looking for someone to be the savior of the white race. That's why Project 2025 came about. It was supposed to save white nationalism. But what it wound up doing, Trump's thing was to do this. He wanted to win the election because it would prevent him from going to jail. If he's president, he don't have to go to jail. Okay? So that's what happened. That's a very important part to understand. He did that not to go to jail. And then once he got in the White House, he started unprecedented corruption. Unprecedented. And then, like I warned you, brothers and sisters, remember, he made a lot of money off that cryptocurrency. Well, what backed it up was the Saudis and the United Arab Emirates invested hundreds of millions into those bitcoins. So now the little guy, he think he can get in on that. Now Trump done pulled the rug on him, profited by it, and now you left holding some coins that don't mean 5 cents. Don't mean 5 cents. I told you, how you going to invest real money on fake money? You seen the dumb people in the machines put money in there trying to get a Bitcoin. I said, those poor peoples. They don't understand anything. They don't. You're going to put money in for something that ain't money. How stupid can you be? I warned you, brothers and sisters, don't do that. Don't do that. It's a scam. But he's made 1.4 billion off of those Bitcoins. Even got one with his head on it. You might as well be buying monopoly money. You might as well be. He ain't selling you nothing real. But the Saudis propped him up so he can put the hustle on the American people. And that's what he's done. But again, before I close out today, America's at a critical crossroads. And if we don't get our government under control, if we don't get this president under control, then we won't make it to another 250 years. We simply won't make it. If we don't come to the conclusion that we all have to live together here in America, we won't make it. If we start throwing people out just because of who they are, we won't make it. If we go into starting wars with other people and not having any exit strategy, we won't make it. So we're at a critical roads, brothers and sisters. And the first critical test will be in November, and that's why the Trump administration is doing everything they can to squash the votes before the midterms. And again, I just want you all to know, my Native American brothers, again, we need you to speak up. We need you to speak up because this immigration thing now, where they done picked out 2 groups that they're going to start throwing out. If that's the case, there's a lot of other people who need to be thrown out. So come, brothers, come to the table and let's all talk. And then also the Epstein women. You keep fighting. I keep saying that, but they can only duck the issue so long. And as long as you stay in the fight, you're going to be all right, baby. Y'all going to be all right. It's important for you to understand. So again, brothers and sisters, I thank you. It's a shorter podcast, but I just want to say some things about the America's 250th birthday. Congratulations, America, but you got a long way to go. And you will not make any progress until you understand that everything must move forward and time does not go backwards. So this go backwards mentality won't work, and Project 2025 will not work in America no more. So again, brothers and sisters, I just want to say thank you for your support. Stay tuned, and I'll be doing one coming up soon on crime and race. Take care, and may God bless you.